Hey everyone, Fit in 20, Mike here. What we're going to do today, Emmy and I, as a team, and this is a good thing to do as a team, if you're a family and if you're trying to lose weight together, it's great to do this together, okay? We're going to show you how to cook 2 weeks of meals for 2 people in just 2 hours, okay? So right now it is 9:15 a.m. and we're going to have all this done within 2 hours. So Em, maybe you could show them what we got on the table here, okay? So we've got carrots, we've got zucchini, we've got parsnips, we've got beets. Over here we've got mushrooms, asparagus, leeks, lettuce, broccoli, and then we've got...
Celery.
Celery, where's the celery? Oh, there it is. Okay, celery, right. Yep. Okay, we've got meat from Maple Lodge Farms. We're very lucky. We have a wholesale chicken distributor right nearby us here in Mississauga. We've got 2 cases, that's 10 kilos of chicken thighs, 1 case which is 5 kilos of chicken breast. Over here we have 10 kilos of ground chicken, okay? And so what we're going to do is we're going to prepare a bunch of different proteins, okay? So about 5 or 6 different proteins and different vegetables so that we have some variety as well as some different carbohydrate options, grains. We have squashes as well. They're around the corner, aren't they? Yeah, okay. So over here, don't mind the dog toys, people. We're a dog family, okay? So we've got squashes, 2 different kinds. We have butternut and we have spaghetti squash. These are the grains. We've got a 6-grain medley. We've got a quinoa. We've got some onions here. And what we're going to be using to cook, we're going to be using a slow cooker, okay? We're going to be using...
Oh dear.
For every guy, well, you have to use the barbecue, right? There's the barbecue. It's a little bit dirty in the winter time. A bunch of junk on it. And we're going to be using the stove and the oven. And we're going to be doing this all at the same time, okay? So what we're going to do from here is we're going to mount the camera in the kitchen, okay? And you're going to get to see what Emmy and I are doing as we work together, okay? So Em, do you want to... salsa as well. So salsa and marinara sauce is going to be part of what we do.
And meat.
99% of what we're doing here, ground beef as well. 99% of what we're doing here, you can get at Costco, okay? So if you go to Costco, you can get most of this stuff. You may have to go, we're going to be using Bragg's soy sauce, which you'll have to get at a health food store. I would recommend go to the President's Choice for your salsa because they don't add sugar. Unfortunately, the stuff at Costco has sugar added, and I don't like when people add sugar to things. It's not necessary. But other than that, pretty much everything you can get at Costco. So you can, when you're preparing for this, you can pretty much get all your shopping done within 1 hour. If you go to Costco and you go to a grocery store, Loblaws, for example, here in Canada, will have the Bragg's soy sauce as well as the salsa that you need. Okay? Okay, folks, so we're going to start with getting our carbohydrates, our starches together. I'm going to start the water filling in here. We're going to be doing root vegetables in... don't trip them. Don't mind the scary pit bull. He's wearing his muzzle because he's got a sore paw, and he licks it otherwise. Here are the grains that we're going to cook. So we're going to do all this simultaneously. Sorry about the noise. But the secret to getting your cooking done in a timely fashion is making sure that you're doing more than just one thing at once. Okay, you get a bunch of things going, and then by the time you're done, everything's ready, and you just package it in containers. Show them the containers there, and so we've got our containers lined up. Okay. Yes, there's going to be an investment. You're going to have to make an investment in these containers, absolutely. But it's well worth it. Okay. All right. So I'm going to set this water to boil. I always have to double check that I've got the right elements on in the stove. So, and then we're going to do the same thing here. Okay. So we're going to get these going. Em's got a cup measure here. So for the rice blend here,
3 cups.
You need 3.5 cups of the water. I'm going to do it in here. For 2 cups of the blend. So I'm just measuring that out. It's important to measure. Okay. And then for the quinoa, what we're going to do is, what's the measurement? And is it 2 cups of water for 1 cup of quinoa?
Correct.
Okay. And what are we doing? We're doing, how much quinoa are we doing? We're doing just 1 cup dry? Or
That's correct.
Okay, all right, good. Okay, so I'm going to start that boiling. So I've got 3 pots of water, and we're waiting for them to boil. Okay, great. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go out to the slow cooker, and we're going to get some chicken going. Okay, so let me go grab a box of the chicken thighs. Did you show them the pitbull?
Hello, Pitbull.
That's the pitbull. Hello, Kuba. Okay, so I'm going to open this up. If you're anywhere in the GTA and you can make it out to Maple Lodge Farms, I would say it's worth the trip. Just don't go into the chicken shop. It's north of Steele's on Winston Churchill. You'll see a cottage-looking store that's called the Chicken Shop. Don't go in there. Go around behind. There's a trailer where they sell this stuff wholesale. If you buy in the chicken shop, you're paying retail prices. And when you're cooking in bulk like this, you don't want to pay retail prices. Okay? So, and what are we doing as far as quantity of chicken that's going in the slow cooker?
The whole 5 kilo would fit, but it's tight, so less than the full bag.
Okay, so we'll put in what we can.
3.5, 4 kilo.
So we'll put in what we can. Okay. Great. Is it plugged in?
Not yet.
Can you plug that in for me, please? That's about enough?
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So any more than that and we'd run into...
It just gets too tight. The middle doesn't get cooked as evenly.
Alright, great. Okay, so just kind of spread it out a little bit there. And then Anne is the expert here. She's the one who created this recipe. So...
Bring some spices in the brags.
Okay, so just the Costco spice, right?
Yep.
Okay, so do you measure it out with...
Sure.
Okay, so we have Costco organic no salt seasoning. This stuff is really fantastic, okay? We use it in pretty much everything. What would you say? How much would we put in?
About 20.
20? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 20. There we go. And Braggs, what do you normally put in?
A couple of rounds.
Meaning you just like...
Yep.
Okay.
1 round, 2 rounds, 3 rounds.
That's good?
Yep.
Okay. And a little bit more. That's just a little Okay, so I just want to show this to you, okay? Braggs liquid soy seasoning, all right? The cool thing about this stuff is there's no wheat, no flour, nothing added to it. It's just simply distilled soy, okay, in distilled water. Yeah, soybean, vegetable, protein, purified water. That's it. So,
Non-GMO.
yeah, nothing. Nada, nada. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select
High for 5.
high, and then I'm going to set the timer to 5 hours.
Make it 5.5 just to be fun.
Okay, 5.5. I'm going to put the lid on, and this is the cool thing about slow cookers. Done.
Set it and forget it.
Okay, you don't have to do anything more. Now we've got 1 meal cooking already. There you go. You got 1 protein going, and that is going to keep us going for a while. Now, looks like the water is almost ready to receive the rice. So, I'm going to open up. This is quinoa, organic quinoa. Don't be all ooh about the organic. I've never seen non-organic quinoa sold, so Seems to be the only way that they sell it. Now, quinoa, technically, what they suggest you do is you put it in water and you rinse it first in cold water. I have to be honest, I've never seen a difference in taste or texture by putting it in cold water first or not. So I don't. So I just put it in. And then what I do is I let it sit and I wait until it comes back to a rolling boil again. And then I'm going to turn it down because I have all these elements on maximum, okay? Alright, the one back here is starting to come to a boil, so I'm going to do the same thing here.
Will you be throwing some salt on there?
Would you like me to?
That would be super.
Okay. Mediterranean sea salt.
On the counter.
A little bit, just to help it boil. Alright, okay. Good to go. Alright, so there's one. There's two. Did our pot lid break?
Yep.
Okay. And, like I said, I'm going to turn it down. And we're still waiting for the other one to come to a boil. That one's going to take a little bit. Okay, so I'm the kind of guy that I like to clean up as I go. And I'm going to recommend that as you go, you clean up. Okay, don't leave things out on the counter because things will start to get piled up. So let's put them back where we got them. Okay, this is not literally where we got them from today, but this is where they're supposed to go. Okay, put the scissors that I took out away. I didn't use the measuring spoon. I'm going to put it back. Take the measuring cup. I'm going to put it back. Everything's out of. Okay, so we're going to get the root vegetables going. Let me just make an adjustment here to the camera, folks. Sorry, it's cutting my head off. There, that's a little bit better. Okay, so I've got my cutting board here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to first wash all of the root vegetables. Okay. So these are beets, all right? I haven't had beets since I was a kid. My father used to love them, and I tried them a few weeks ago when I decided to go on this paleo way of eating, and I really like them. So anyway, so I'm going to wash them really quickly here in water.
You can do the zucchinis, I can do the beets.
Pardon me?
You can do the zucchinis, I can do the beets.
Okay, sure. All right. So M's going to actually wash the beets, and I'm going to chop up zucchini. So we're going to do a mix of zucchini, carrots, parsnips, and beets. Okay? So this is where if you can get two people doing this at the same time, it makes it a lot more efficient. Okay? So again, handling things only once, right into the recycling here. Let's not leave any mess on the counter. Make it easy on myself. I'm going to bring my garbage can right over here so that the ends of the zucchinis I can simply toss into the garbage. Okay? And I like to be efficient. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put 2 zucchinis together, 3 zucchinis together, and cut off the ends all at once. So, boom, there's one, and then boom, 2, okay. Never really had boiled zucchini before, but there's lots you can do with it. If you wanted to, in the water, you could add some bouillon, some chicken bouillon or some beef bouillon to add some flavor, put some spices on it.
Or half an onion.
Half an onion, like Em says. You know, lots of stuff you can do. So, nothing's written in stone here, right? We're just preparing it very simply, but even after you've cooked it, you can always add stuff to it. You can add spice, you can add brags, you can add oil, some flavor. So, getting my zucchini ready here. I'm cutting it into quarters, okay? I don't know if you can. You can't really see it from where you are there, but I'm chopping it into quarters. Okay, there you go. You can see it there. So slicing through it here. What I've done is I've cut them in half, and then I cut them lengthwise. And so now I've got little zucchini quarters. Okay, I'll show you what that looks like. I'll bring it up to the camera. Right, little zucchini quarters. See? Okay. So there's one. I'm going to get a bowl to put this in. First batch. I'm going to do the same thing here. So I don't know if you can see this. What I'm doing is I'm cutting them lengthwise, okay? So I've cut them in half and I'm cutting them lengthwise right down like so. Lining them up beside each other. Watch your fingers here. Okay, this is a very sharp knife. We keep our knives nice and sharp here. Okay, and then I'm going to again cut them lengthwise here into little zucchini quarters. Emmy calls these pink veggies because when you cook them all together, when you cook the beets in with the parsnips and the carrots and the zucchini, everything turns pink. And she said this morning, interesting enough, that she's finding she's liking them. We haven't really traditionally done this paleo way of eating, but she really likes it. And I do too. And I should say this, there are a lot of people out there who have opinions on the right way and the wrong way of eating. So a vegan, for example, would be pretty much the opposite of paleo, right? The fact of the matter is, John Berardi of Precision Nutrition talks about this. He talks about the fact that both of those ways of eating work if you want to lose weight. There's nothing wrong with either one of them. The key to losing weight is compliance. It's actually following it. It's following a plan, sticking to a plan, and my coaching structure is based on teaching people certain disciplines that they need. One of them is preparing food in advance. Why we're doing this video is because we want to show you how to prepare your food in advance. I keep hearing my clients say the same thing over and over again. Oh, I got up this morning and I was late and I didn't have time to prepare my food for the day. Well, that's not the way to do it. The way to do it is like we're doing. 2 hours for 2 weeks worth of food for 2 people. And now I don't have to worry about it for 2 more weeks. I'm telling you folks, this takes less time than it does to drive through drive-thrus to pick up fast food meals, or to go into fast food restaurants, or even take the time to go out to go to a restaurant. It takes less time. I'm keeping an eye on my grains, okay? Just so you know. So, anyways, what I was saying is there's no one right way of doing it, okay? People are going to argue that, you know, paleo's the right way, or vegan's the right way, or a balanced diet is the right way, or intermittent fasting is the right way. They all have a place, and I use all those modalities depending on what my clients' goals are, what their religious convictions might be, what their personal moral convictions might be. They might eat vegan for a reason, and I wouldn't want to be the one who would tell them that they have to do otherwise. And I do know there's some trainers out there who will do that. Which is why I don't consider myself a trainer, I consider myself a coach. Because I let people do what it is they need to do for them without telling them one way or another what they have to do. So, all of these ways are proven methods of weight loss. It's just compliance. You just have to stick to it, okay? I'm trying paleo right now, as I said. I find it's working great for me. I've heard lots of good things about it. Now I know there are some in the paleo camp who are very adamant about the fact that we all should be eating paleo because grains cause inflammation, etc., etc. And then again, I go back to John Berardi, who you can tell I like John Berardi, who says that he had an article that showed that there's evidence actually that the argument that the paleo people use, that there were no grains around back in the time of Paleolithic man, may not be true. That there may well have been grains around at that time. And so it's not necessarily that they didn't eat grains. So, I don't know. I don't like getting involved in disputes like that. I just know that I know a lot of healthy people who eat grains. I know a lot of healthy people who don't eat grains. So, alright, so I'm busy chopping up the beets, preparing them here. Em's getting the parsnips ready for me. I'm very careful as I cut. Notice if you can see it, that the proper way to cut when I'm cutting through something, let me show you here, okay? When I'm cutting through something is I keep my thumbs away from it, okay, and I cut down this way. So I'm not cutting into my hand. Yep, our quinoa's done. Great. So I'm going to turn that off. Awesome. Em's moved it out of the way. Normally what I would do is I would immediately go and section it off. As soon as I can, first opportunity, I'm going to go and section it off into containers, because again, we try and handle things only once for maximum efficiency.
Normally we also have music going, but for the purpose of the video, we opted for no music.
Yeah, it's going to be annoying. Emmy listens to this real cool station. What's it called, Em?
Indie 88.
Indie 88. So it's independent music, and really good music, actually. Awesome stuff. This is in the Toronto area. I manage if you're outside of Toronto, you can't get the station, you can always get it online.
Yes, you can.
Some good oldies on it, too. Stuff that I remember from, well, I'm not going to date myself, but high school. And playing a lot of David Bowie, too. Funny thing, any of you familiar with David Bowie? He has a song, what the heck's the name of the song? I don't think it's called Major Tom. No, it's not. It's the one, Ground Control to Major Tom. Is it Space Odyssey? Something like that. Anyways, in it he talks about, but one of the final instructions given to the astronaut before he goes into space is to take your protein pills. You got to remember, this song was written back in the 70s, okay? When protein pills were not really existent. It's funny, the protein supplement that I take now is in a pill form created in 1971 by an Italian doctor called MAP, Master Amino Acid Pattern. And it's a very effective supplement. It's actually helping me in my quest to add some extra muscle mass to my frame. And I'm finding the eating paleo is too.
What exactly do you mean by eating paleo? What do you not eat?
That is a good question, Em. See, here's me pretending or thinking that everybody knows what I'm talking about. So Paleolithic eating means that you eat foods that Paleolithic, and I hate to be gender exclusive, but we'll call it Paleolithic people used to eat, okay? So...
Nice recovery.
Yeah, very good. So they would eat root vegetables, they would eat meat, they would eat fat, nuts, seeds, all that sort of thing. The only thing I don't eat is nuts, because nuts make me nuts. And I don't personally think that nuts are often a good tool to eat when you're trying to lose weight. I've had a conversation for years. I've had this conversation with people who are trying to lose weight. There's a lot of diets out there that suggest, you have a handful or 10 or 15 or 20 or 23 almonds. The problem is limiting myself to that number of almonds. I'm just not good. You give me a bag of almonds, and I'm going to just grab, and eat. That's just my nature. Still, even today. So I tend to stay away from nuts. There's plenty of ways of getting healthy fats that you get from nuts. I use avocado oil. I'll show you right here.
Also from Costco?
Yeah, Costco avocado oil. There is also extra virgin coconut oil spray. There is extra virgin olive oil spray. You'll notice the thing that the olive oil and that the avocado oil and the coconut oil have in common is that they're fruit nut oils. Okay, oils that aren't good for you are vegetable oils, especially canola oil. Okay, it has oxidative properties, inflammatory properties to it. It's just not a good one to go with. But so basically, protein, fat, and carb sources are root vegetables. And that's what Paleolithic eating means. And I keep it very simple. There's a lot of really cool recipes out there that people can use. You can even you can make yourself, not that I recommend it for people trying to lose weight, but pies and cakes and that sort of thing with the paleo philosophy, because you can use flours that aren't grain-based flours. There's almond flour, for example. There's spinach flour. You can use these flours for cooking. You're not going to find it's as yummy as wheat flour, I'm going to be honest with you. Whenever people cook with flours other than wheat flours, they're usually not that impressed with it. But regardless, you can. So, almost through the beets here. We've got some parsnips. We'll get through those, we'll get them in the pot. And then the next thing we're going to do after that is we're going to do the squashes, okay? I've got the oven warming. I forgot to tell you this. I did this right away at the beginning. I turned the oven on to 400 degrees because we're going to cut these squashes up and just drop them in the oven and start them cooking, okay? And it takes 400 degrees. How long is it, Em? 1 hour? Or,
With the squashes, you can't really overcook them. If you leave them in for hour 15, they'll still be fine. Anything less than an hour, you're gonna get a fairly al dente type texture. We like it a little better done, so we go with an hour at 375, 380.
one thing with beets, be careful if you're wearing anything that isn't black. Don't touch. I have a white towel here and I realized it's too late. I grabbed the thing and so now we've got beet stains on the towel and those aren't going to come out. So just be careful with that.
Or if you want to pull a prank and make believe that it's blood.
Not very nice. Okay. You do the carrots while I do the parsnips. How about? Can you grab another bowl, please, too? Okay, I'm onto the parsnips now, folks. We've peeled. You don't even have to peel them, by the way. You know they're fine on their own. But it's whatever you like. Some people are fussy. They like them peeled. They like them chopped very finely. I don't find that I personally need to have finely chopped vegetables. I'm happy with. Unless it gets to be like this big, then I'm going to cut it in half and divvy it up there. But I'm generally inclined. So. You've never had a parsnip before. I never liked these things as a kid. I didn't like squash and I didn't like parsnip. I'm not.
Hang on. I'm showing my fancy cutting tool, which will make fancy rigid carrots.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Cool. Which you can get at Kitchen Stuff Plus, I think, right? Is that
Yep.
what we got? Yeah, okay. Another good Canadian, kind of a discount kitchen store retailer. I go there, I shop for my dad every Christmas there because he loves to cook. So, what was I talking about, huh?
Sorry I interrupted.
Parsnips. I was talking about parsnips, squashes, all. I never liked it much as a kid. I'm not crazy about it now, I have to admit. I know there's people out there who, I absolutely love parsnips. I'm like, okay, more power to you. But I gotta admit, they're not bad, okay? They don't offend me like they used to when I was a kid. And they're hearty. You know? They're one of those. The thing about eating paleo, okay, is that it's low glycemic. So from a scientific standpoint, it makes sense. And my personal belief is that it's easy. It'd be easier to lose weight if you're eating paleo than it would if you're eating vegan. So it's not impossible at all to lose weight if you're eating vegan. Robert Cheek is a well-known vegan bodybuilder. He wrote a book on vegan bodybuilding. It's a fantastic book. I recommend anybody who's into bodybuilding read it. It shows. There's a lot of trainers out there, unfortunately, who will say, "Oh, you have to eat animal protein if you're going to bodybuild," and it's not true. It's simply not true. Bill Pearl is a very well-known champion bodybuilder. I can't remember how many times he won either Mr. Olympia or Mr. Universe, but I mean, just fantastic results. And he was vegan, so. And there's been others too, so you don't have to eat meat to be successful. But I have found that it's easier to lose weight if you eat meat. Doesn't mean I say it's any more right or wrong, just my what I've noticed. There we go, carrots. Okay. So what that means is low glycemic simply means that it raises your blood sugar. The food involved in a paleo diet raises your blood sugar a lot less than other foods, like let's say processed carbohydrate, for example, breads and pastas and stuff like that have a high what's called glycemic value. And they're going to raise your blood sugar quite a bit, relatively speaking. Whereas these sorts of things, carbohydrates from these sources, not so much, which is great because it keeps you feeling fuller longer and gives you a longer sustained burst of energy rather than having your blood sugar go up and down and up and down. You're always having to replenish it. And that's why I like eating this way. When I'm not hungry. So
Don't add the zucchini. I'll do the rest of these.
but don't add the zucchini.
Yeah, it's gonna fall apart.
Okay.
And then boil it.
Okay. Well, let's try it anyway. So let's just see what happens.
Okay.
So you're finishing up the parsnips. Okay, good. So I'm going to set these aside. We're going to put them in the water in a minute. Okay, I'm setting those aside. Now we're getting on to the squash. Okay, you need a big knife for the squash.
I got it.
Can I trade you? Okay, so Em's going to take the shorter one. Okay, all right, big knife that's as long as the squash. Now I normally do this on the floor because it scares the dogs otherwise, but I have to do it here to show you. What I'm doing is I'm cutting into the squash, okay? So I've got the knife, you see that? I've cut into the squash here, okay? And all I'm going to do from here is I'm going to put my hands on the top. I'm going to put my hand on the top like this, and I'm going to slam it into the counter. Okay? So it's going to be like this. Boom! Big noise. My poor old guy Pitbull doesn't like this at all. Okay, so, and then what happens here often is the knife gets stuck if the squash is longer than the knife, so you got to pull it out. Now you got to work it from the ends, okay? So I'm going to put it back in on one end here, and I'm going to bang it through. And then I'm going to put it in on the other. Be careful when you pull these knives out too, because they could slip and cut you real bad. So this end, I'm boom, going through, okay? There we go. Almost through. Okay, good. All right, there's one. Emmy's going to show you how she cores this stuff out. She takes a sharp measuring spoon, so very thin metal, okay, and then she scoops, okay, you just hack at it, scoop it out, okay. Take that out before you cook, trust from experience. Now I'm going to do the spaghetti squash, same thing, okay. These ones are easier. There's one of them. This one, the one that Emmy's working on right now, is called a butternut squash. It's a little bit different. They cook the same, but what you have to do with it, you either puree it or you cube it. There's a bunch of recipes you can use once you've done either, but spaghetti squash actually comes out like strands of spaghetti when you're done. Okay. Okay, so remember, we've got the slow cooker cooking, okay? Emmy's coring it out, so I'm going to now add all of the root vegetables to the water. Okay, one's cored, right? Okay, so I'm going to add the root vegetables into the water here. Okay.
Now for the spaghetti squash, it is possible to bake it or cook it as is with the guts in it. But then afterwards, I found that it's a lot more difficult to distinguish what is the guts and what is the good stuff. And so when it's raw like this, it's kind of pumpkin-y.
Okay, now we have a pot full of root vegetables that are cooking. How long are we going to let those go for, Em? What do you think?
Half hour.
Half hour? Okay, great. So I'm just going to stir it. This right here. You notice I've just put a couple bowls in the sink. I'm actually going to clean them right away. Okay? Again, handle things once. Okay, so I'm stirring the root vegetables. Water's already pink because of the beets. Thank you very much. Okay, good. All right, it's all stirred up. Do we want to put a lid on this? What do you normally do?
Sure.
Now, I'm just checking in on the rice here. Okay, good. Coming along nicely.
Oven, squashes.
Okay, yep. Okay. So the oven's warm. Now we're putting the squash into the oven, okay? So you see on one sheet, don't put any oil on the sheet. We found that out the hard way too. Okay, we're putting them both on one shelf because we're going to use the other shelf for chicken.
Saucy chicken.
Yeah, which Em is going to start preparing.
Okay.
Okay, folks, so what we're getting into now is sausage, okay? I'm going to create breakfast for myself for the next little while. So, really big bowl, and then 10 kilos of chicken, ground chicken, which again we got at Maple Lodge Farms. Sorry, it's a little dark there. Let me turn this light on. There we go. Okay, that makes it a little better. So, I've cleaned up all my dishes, by the way. Okay, you see what I've done there? Let's open chicken. Here's how I'm going to do it. Okay, I'm going to put one bag in, then I'm going to put the spices in, then I'm going to put another bag in. That's 5 kilos.
Yeah.
Right away, I'm going to be environmentally responsible. I'm going to clean this out. The temptation might be with this gutsy chicken bag to, ew, I'm just going to throw it out. Let's try and avoid that. Okay. So we'll take this out to the recycling in short order, but I'm going to put that in the recycling. Okay. Now, the spices needed for this chicken recipe. Okay. Let's take a bowl here. So it starts with sage. Okay. Which is, you know where the sage is, huh?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Cheat sheet.
So 5.5 tablespoons of sage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now, by the way, Venetian Gold spices, these are from a dollar store. They work just fine. They really do. Okay, and I know that for you who are true gourmets and cooks, that probably makes you cringe, but oh well. Eggs, okay? We're putting 11 eggs in this. This is a big, big batch. 11 eggs minus the shells.
Usually I get it without the shells.
Okay, so now it's 2 tablespoons of thyme. Okay. Make sure you measure these fairly accurately, folks, because you know I've made the mistake in the past of being a little liberal in some of my measurements, and it really does throw the taste of the sausage off. So this is a really good sausage, and there's no junk in it. Like you buy sausages in stores, and there's junk in it. I don't know why they have to add maltodextrin and corn syrup and dextrose and all. I don't know why they have to do that, but they do. So pepper, just regular good old-fashioned pepper, 4 tablespoons. Okay. Now with the pepper, be careful. Make sure it's 4, no more, no less. Okay, because wow, it'll be way too hot. Because there's going to be chilies in here as well, red chili peppers. Okay. So, sorry, I should probably put this more in the line of the camera. Okay. That was 2. A little bit more. There we go. 4. Okay, good. All right. There's the pepper. Okay. Salt. 5.5 tablespoons. Use Mediterranean sea salt. Okay. And half. Good. Okay. Very good. Parsley, same amount of salt. Okay, Em's just stirring the root vegetables. Okay. 1, 2. Parsley's a spice I've never really understood. I don't find it has much taste. 3. I think it's more for color. 4. 5. So 5.5. Okay. Great. Now, red peppers. Okay, crushed red peppers. Only 1 tablespoon. Only 1 tablespoon. You have to be really careful with these. This is one where we've gotten a little liberal before, and woo boy, let me tell you, you'll notice it. Put too many of those in. Okay. 1 tablespoon of nutmeg, same thing. Nutmeg has a very distinct flavor to it. Too much of it will throw the taste of the sausages off. So And we'll be careful with that. Good, there you go. So there are your spices for your, and this is all 11 eggs, huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So I'm going to pour the eggs in. Actually, you know what I like to do? I like to make a little bit of a, what I'm going to create a crater in here, okay? So kind of like a bowl inside the chicken, the ground chicken that receives the ingredients. Okay, good. So like a little indent. Okay. Amy doesn't like dealing with the chicken, so it's
Raw meat.
kind of my job. So I'll put the rest of the chicken in here. And I'm wondering if you could put those in the dishwasher, okay, and then put a bowl in there with some soap and warm water in it. The reason why I want soap, sorry my back's to you folks, but the reason why I want soap and warm water is because the chicken's cold, and as I'm mixing it by hand, it's really cold, and every now and then I have to dive my hands into the warm soapy water to clean them, but also to warm them up. Maybe I'm a bit of a baby, but that's okay. So again, we're keeping things clean. We're moving it along, right? So we're gonna use that later. Yeah. Okay. Great. I'm just wiping down the counter. Okay. And this way, when you're done, you're done. You don't have a whole bunch of cleanup to do. Okay. All right. So here we go. Hand mixing. Okay. I'm just going to start playing with it, okay? I'm going to mix all the spices in, get the eggs mixed together, get the brags mixed together, let's get this whole thing mixed through and through. The only thing is we haven't put a binder in here like breadcrumbs or anything. Oftentimes people will put breadcrumbs in meat that's to be grilled to bind it. You can use chia seeds. You could use oat bran if you're not intolerant to it. Oat bran has a fair amount of gluten in it. You could use rye flakes, but again, gluten. Ground flax seeds is another option, but generally we find that we can get away with barbecuing it without having to use a binder of any kind. So I'm saying squeeze each patty together to make it really stiff. Okay. And right now you can't see her, but Em's out in the other room preparing the chicken. Okay, so she's putting chicken thighs in glass Pyrex dishes that are going to be baked in the oven, the same oven that the squash is being baked in. Okay, so there it is, right? And it's a very simple recipe. Em, tell them what you're doing. What are you going to put on top there?
This was found out by trial and experimentation. So just took the chicken, put a cup of marinara on it, about a cup of salsa, a little bit of water, and that's it. Covered it in silver foil, bake it for about an hour because we cook in bulk. The chicken is fairly tight in there, and so you want to leave it in for as long as it'll take for the middle to get cooked through. So a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of water, bake it covered in foil for 1 hour, and then take off the foil and set the oven to broil for about 10-15 minutes. That will help evaporate the liquid, make it more saucy, and give the bits of chicken a nice little crispy edges. So
Bingo. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that to Emmy because she can do the patties and start putting it on the barbecue. I'm going to move right away to the next, which is to make chili. Okay? By the way, folks, in our lives, I have a friend in Quebec who might be watching this video, Nicole Paquette. And Nicole sent me, she's pretty good with time management. She actually teaches time management in the company that she's in. And she sent me a video called Le Gestion du Temps, okay, time management. And it's a presentation that she gives. And I've asked her actually to give it to me in English because A lot of good suggestions on how to manage our time, right?
Hang on, fun management. So the way I do it, I just gloop the salsa on it, I gloop the marinara on it, and then I move it around a little to get the good saucy stuff in between the chicken pieces. And when it's all mixed up, then I cover it in foil and stick it in the oven.
Good. So there you go. Okay. So I'm going to kind of be out of the view of the camera for the next little bit here. Well, my face will, but you won't see what I'm doing. What I have here is a bowl of ground beef. We've put the ground beef not in a bowl, in a pot, right? And I'm going to start browning it right now. Okay? And that's the beginning of our chili. So anyways, I was talking about gestion du temps, time management, okay? Another principle is when you start a task, finish a task, okay? So not only do you handle things once, but you don't leave things undone. So I finished the task of the vegetables, the root vegetables, they're cooking. I finished the task of the grains, they're cooking. And one's already cooked. And as soon as we can, what we want to do is we want to get those into a container, get that pot clean, get it out of the way. Okay, so now that I've got this going and browning, that's exactly what I'm going to do. So here's the cooked quinoa, nice and fluffy. Okay, I'm taking my cup measure. I'm going to measure it out. But we also like, here's another thing, right? We buy a container that holds a cup. And then we figure out what level it's probably to the, I'm imagining that the line right here is going to be 1 cup, okay? So we just buy containers that have the right quantity, or are the right size for what we want, and then that's what we fill it up to, so it makes it easy. We don't have to measure and then put it in the container, right? So let's see. Let's see what these new Rubbermaids that we bought do, okay? Boom. Let's... Yeah, and then sure enough, right to that line is 1 cup. Great, that's cool. So we can do this really quick.
And there is enough space in the oven to have the squashes on the bottom shelf and the chicken on the top shelf, and they can share oven space. But as a result, because it's so full in the oven, we turned it up to 400 degrees, and that'll be about the equivalent of 375 if each of those things were in there separately. Yeah.
So Em's going to start. So we're doing. We have a great gourmet burger that we make. It's awesome. Now people are going to say, "Diet burger? What are you talking about?" Well, there are different ways of eating them. You can eat a burger plain. You can eat a burger in a lettuce wrap. You can also eat a burger. Although I'm eating paleo right now, I don't do this, but you can. There's a way of making bread out of oat bran. Okay, so it's flour free. It's lower glycemic, and it's pretty good. So. There's ways of doing it. You can put tomatoes on it. You can put mustard on it. Homemade mayonnaise, not store-bought. Store-bought has sugar in it. Stay away from it, folks. But homemade mayonnaise. In the States, if you ever travel to the States, there's a brand of mayonnaise down there that you can bring back up with you called Duke's mayonnaise. It has no sugar added. And that is that. So now I'm hearing my ground beef sizzling, so I'm going to have to stir it. Okay, so I've got 4 servings of the quinoa, right? Okay, so great. Quinoa's dealt with. Okay, so I'm back in the picture here. I'm stirring the beef again. We're just browning the beef, right? Getting it ready. Alright, so I'm going to do the same thing for Em that she did for me. I'm going to fill up the bowl here with some soapy water. She's making patties, and what she's doing is, as she makes 8 of them, she's going to take them out to the barbecue and put them on. They don't take that long to clean, so. And the spoon. Okay, great. All right, we're good to go. So what do we got next? I'm going to say, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to start working on the salads. Okay? Okay, celery. My salads are really simple. Celery, I used to have them with peppers, but I grew intolerant to peppers of any kinds, like red or green or orange or yellow peppers, and I don't know why that is, but it is what it is, so there's not much I can do about it. So knowing that, I limit myself now to salads that have celery, lettuce, and tomatoes in it. And I find, to be quite frank, that it's good. I quite enjoy it with just that in it. So I'm cutting the celery right now. I'm splitting the celery in half here because it's too big. And I've been doing this for a while, so I can chop pretty quickly. If you're not experienced in chopping this quickly, please don't, because you're going to cut yourself. And I can't afford the lawsuit. So, and I'm going to take just a second here. I'm going to stir my beef, and I think probably my other grain is done. Sorry, Em, were you going to say something?
Rice.
Yeah. So Em and I were thinking the same thing at the same time. And the beef's getting nice and brown, so this is good. And as soon as it's brown, we just drain the fat off. And then from there, we add in the 2 or 3 other simple ingredients for the chili. And then we let it simmer. Okay, so I think we have rice. Yes, we do. Perfect. Okay. Good timing. All right, so this is hot. I'm just going to set it aside for now. There's no need to deal with it until it's a little cooler. I'm going to put it out. We don't have compost here, folks. I wish we did, but in the apartment building we live in, they don't have it. Otherwise, we would be using it for sure. Try and be environmentally friendly wherever possible. So, I'm going to put a whole other stalk of celery in. And I'll just right the bottom. I'm just going to cut the bottom off. Like that. Great. Kind of separate them all out. Take the these leafy pieces. I don't mind them, but some people do. So I'm just going to take them off. Don't know if Em likes them or not.
And likes what?
This leafy piece?
I don't mind.
Doesn't mind. Okay, so I'm just going to leave them on. That just makes it easier, right? Less muss, less fuss, less preparing.
Want to talk about the mushroom burgers?
Yeah, okay, that's a good point. What we're going to be making next is these gourmet burgers that I was telling you about, okay? And why don't I let you because you've kind of played with the recipe since I first created it. So tell them what you put in it.
We found that increasing the onion content makes it better, and then increasing the mushroom content makes it better. My big
So
pet
tell them,
peeve-
like, you put the mushrooms actually in the beef, right?
Yes.
Before you cook it.
That's correct.
Right.
At first, I was chopping mushrooms. That proved to be a big pain because if you have a pound or 2 of mushrooms, you're chopping for a long time. And then my mom suggested that I shred the mushrooms, and this will only work if the mushrooms are nice and fresh and they're pretty firm. And so I found that shredding them takes a heck of a lot less time, and it distributes the mushrooms much more evenly throughout the meat. So, for our recipe today, we've got about 2.5 kilos of beef, and for that I will be using 4 large onions and probably about a pound and a half of mushrooms.
Just so you know, folks, we're going to be publishing all these recipes and putting them on our Facebook page, so you will be able to mimic exactly what we're doing. You don't have to be with a pen and paper.
And normally I would, if I was in the kitchen doing the onions, I would put on my goggles. They are scuba goggles, and they prevent tears from the onion. However, because I'm chopping out in the big room, I don't have to do that because it'll disperse much faster.
There you go. From the expert.
Knife.
You got it for you? It's okay. And let's face it, the biggest obstacle that people have to doing this is taking time in preparation and paying attention to their food, which is why we're doing this video. Okay, we want to show you that it's going to save you time. Okay, my argument is that you are going to spend less time. I'm not arguing with anyone. Sorry, it's an academic term. My contention is that you will spend less time if you prepare for a couple hours a week like this. Really, it might take 3 hours some weeks to get through all this, with another hour of shopping. That's 4 hours total, okay? But when you count the amount of time that you have to spend cooking every night anyways, if you have children, you've got to boil water, you got to put pasta in, etc., etc. Going through a drive-through lineup to get food, going out of your way, going out to a restaurant. All of these things take time. And my contention is that you're going to spend less time over a 2-week time period doing it this way than you would if you did it the other way. So you're actually better off doing this than you would be relying on restaurants, fast food, or otherwise. Pardon me?
Think veggies done?
Almost, yep.
I can smell it.
Yep, so I'm going to actually sharpen the knife, okay? Good sharpener that came from a company that Emmy used to work for called Princess House. Put the sharpener back. Good. Clean it off because there are going to be small metal filings on it. Okay, you don't want that in your food. Now I'll be right back. I'm just going to grab some lettuce. Or no, not lettuce. I said tomatoes. I'm not listening to myself. Okay. Tomatoes. These little guys here. Cut them in half and then slice them lengthwise. That's all I do.
Now, there are many varieties of tomato at various price points. These ones are Roma tomatoes, and this quantity here was about $2. So they're fairly inexpensive.
That's another thing we're going to do is we're going to report on how much this all cost at the end of the day. Okay? And I think you'll be surprised. I keep hearing from people, they say, man, eating healthy is expensive. I don't think it is necessarily, especially when you compare it to eating out all the time. I really don't think it is. And I'm going to show you what I mean by that. So, our beef is just about done, and our root veggies are just about done. So, that's good because it means that we're going to be able to get the chili going, portion out the root vegetables, and then we'll be good to go. Just as a matter of interest, factoid, okay? Carbohydrates. I hear people say to me all the time, oh, I'm eating a low-carb diet or a no-carb diet, and they're eating vegetables. No carbs. They say, I'm not eating any carbs, and I see them eating salad. Well, yes, you are. I don't like that term, no carbs. There's no such thing unless you're eating a chicken breast, okay? And nobody can get away with eating no carbohydrate. It's impossible, okay? Bodybuilders can do it for a period of time. It's a certain way of eating called ketogenic. They're coaches who know how to do it properly, and if they don't, I would suggest they read Lyle McDonald's The Ketogenic Diet. We'll put them on a ketogenic diet, which is high fat, high protein, ultra low carbohydrate. The brain needs carbohydrate in order to function. It cannot function without it. It can function in a severe carbohydrate deficit by what your body does is it produces something called ketones. So if you're not eating much carbohydrate, you still need to get your calories from fat and protein, but it will go into a state of ketosis. Your body will produce ketones, and those ketones will be able to supply up to 75% of the energy that your brain needs in the form of blood glucose in order to function. But let me tell you something. Any bodybuilder who's been on a ketogenic diet prior to a competition will tell you that it's a hard way to live. Cranky, miserable, upset, irritable, not healthy. So, folks, if you believe that the only way to lose weight is to go low carb, then I'm going to tell you this. There's something wrong with your metabolism. You need to get that fixed. So you can see a naturopath about that. There's things I can help you with if that's the case. But low carb, we were not meant to eat low carb. Okay? We were meant to eat balanced diets, but not low carb. So,
Mushroom show.
mushroom. Okay, yeah, Sharem's going to show the mushrooms, what she does for the burgers. Yeah, they can see it.
Okay.
So she's grating them, okay? We used to chop them. Grating's quicker, and it really integrates into the burger meat nicely.
It's very easy, very fast. You just gotta not shred your fingers.
So, there it is.
And then it comes out in this lovely consistency.
Okay, and I've got to stir the beef one more time. Got 3 tomatoes to go. Then I'm going to take the root vegetables off and chop some lettuce. And we'll portion out the salad into single serving size containers.